In 2013, following my original review of Pebble, I immediately returned it to Best Buy. At the time, it was truly still the only game in town as far as Bluetooth connected wearables were concerned, but I was ultimately disappointed simply by how overpriced the product was. Fast forward to today, and you may have noticed one on my wrist during some of my recent video uploads. So I thought this would be as good a time as any to cover not only how well the original hardware holds up 4 years later, but also why Pebble is still the winner when it comes to practical wearable technology, despite having sparked an entire industry of Bluetooth-connected wrist gadgets. We'll start with how I came to possess the watch, which is an interesting story in and of itself. In late 2014, following Apple's announcement of their own wearable Bluetooth-connected watch, this kind of sparked my interest again in smartphone connected wearables, and it got me thinking about my original upload of the Pebble review from way back in 2013. So I looked them up on eBay and saw that the prices were still surprisingly high even for used units, mainly because of the fact that the retail price of the watch was still quite high. I figured if I could get one for $40, that would be a win. So I posted a wanted to buy ad on Craigslist, which is something I've actually never done before. I didn't really expect to get anything out of it, and I didn't for the first month and a half, but after that sixth week, somebody actually sent me a text message asking if I was still looking for Pebble. I responded yes and asked what kind of condition it was in, what color it was, how much it would be asking for it. And everything checked out there, so I drove to the gas station and bought it. This would go on to be the first and only item I've ever acquired on Craigslist using a wanted to buy ad, at least so far. Anyway, after I purchased it, obviously I had owned one before, so I knew pretty much how it worked and how to use it. Or so I thought, at least. Obviously, the hardware stayed the same. It was the exact same watch, the same color even, the only difference being that this one that I purchased used was actually the earlier Kickstarter edition model as opposed to the retail edition that I had bought brand new back in 2013. What had changed was the software situation.
It's so unappealing on so many levels, it's hard to know what to criticize first. It's like Wall-E, except small enough to flush down the toilet.
It doesn't work in landscape, it looks terrible, it's hard to use, it requires you to create an account just to set up your watch. It'll force software updates, it'll try to uninstall applications that you already have installed if you're updating from the previous version of the application, and all sorts of other stupid and unnecessary annoying stuff. The authors clearly succumbed to the pitfalls of so-called modern software design, but it didn't do anyone any favors. In fact, the only reason that I actually use it is because it has a semi-competent marketplace, and it also has a rather useful feature called the locker, which helps offset the limitations of the device's fairly minimal onboard storage capacity by allowing you to temporarily uninstall applications and watch faces from Pebble. Despite this one useful feature, however, most any Pebble owner will tell you that the worst part of the experience by far is the smartphone companion application. Once you've persevered, though, and drudged through that initial setup, you almost never have to touch the application again. And then you can finally revel in the magnificence of what makes Pebble superior to all the Pebble-inspired copies. Starting with the screen. The screen always has been and probably always will be Pebble's greatest strength. It has, despite what the pundits say, probably the best screen on a mobile device of any kind that I have ever seen. It is only grayscale, but that sharp memory LCD, or whatever they're calling it this week, has an unmatched level of outdoor visibility, and I've really never seen anything like it. And the best part is it stays on all the time. You don't have to shake your wrist or press a button or shout at it or anything to get it to wake up. You can always glance at it and see the time no matter what. And that one characteristic right there makes it better than 75% of the competition. But it gets even better, because at that price point, it's already going to be as expendable as any of your other electronic gadgets, so you don't have to tiptoe around it or be conscious of it throughout the course of the day. And that's not to mention all of Pebble's other standard bragging rights like the waterproofing and the battery life. And I mean, it's a shame it took it this long to get that price down, But now that it's there, it's really an excellent and economical choice for anybody looking for a Bluetooth connected watch. And as I mentioned in my original review, it's possible that a better product with more features and a more competitive price may emerge over time, but Pebble will always be the original that got it right. And with that, I thank you for watching the all-new Channel 2012.